Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good
Boys and girls, fans of all ages and sizes, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing today? Feels like years since the last show. You aren't kidding, man. You know, it's funny. We had a customer in today. He goes, "You guys still do the install diaries?" I was like, "Yeah, we did 2 like a week and a half ago."
Yeah.
You know, trust me, it's been very painful for us too. 2 big trips like that back to back wasn't planned that way. It just kind of happened. So it was like Knowledge Fest, audio control, kicker, and then we have another one coming up next month. But luckily it's like middle of the month, so we're not even at the halfway point. But we're gonna be going off to do another documentary. And some of you guys guessed it right, which was kind of cool. But we'll talk more about that towards the end of the show. That ought to be pretty fun. It's gonna be ridiculous. But before we get to any of that, let everyone just tell us what's going on. What's up? What's up? What's everybody doing? Minnesota in the house. Northern Maine. The other nice thing too is that we're getting ready to change this whole system out that we do this with. We're currently using what's called a Webcaster 2, and it has been end of life now for about a year, and it's been driving us crazy. But we've been trying to figure out what we want to do. Do we just want to do what everybody else does? And of course we decided that we just want to do what everybody else does, so we'll be able to call up the comments and all that other fun stuff and have guests on and do all that. So we ordered a bunch of parts this weekend. So if you see us go live at all this week, just know we're just doing some testing because next Monday we are going to have a guest on the show. We're going to have Chris Cook from Knowledge Fest. The MEA will be on. We'll be talking about Knowledge Fest Indy. If you have any questions, if you're in the industry or just in general. So we'll have him on. We'll just talk about MEA, talk maybe anything.
Yeah, you're good.
Let's back up. All right. And this is why we're changing out the system. It just kicked us out remotely for no reason. So bear with us tonight. This will be the last night we get to use this particular system. I'm sorry. Anyways, I was saying we will be having a guest next Monday, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
What is up, everyone? No car in the bay? Not tonight. Thankfully, we got our car done.
Not today.
No audio? What do you mean there's no audio?
Gotta be audio.
There has to be audio. Yeah.
No car, no audio, no audio. Do you?
Check the mic.
It's on.
I mean, hold on. I mean, I got audio here.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's showing me audio.
Hang on.
So unless this is... No, we got audio. I hear you. Okay. All right. The Facebook hates our 12-volt community. I don't really care what Facebook thinks of anything. All good. Oh, Susan says it's all good. Don't argue with the wife. All right. So here's what we got. We got an announcement for today. If any of you guys saw, like Saturday we didn't have a show, but I put up a cool picture of Disney, and I said stay tuned for Monday because Monday we have something this box right here that we're going to talk about. And you guys listen. This box that's sitting on the table has taken us 2 years to come out with, and it's really exciting. We have a whole demo set up over here to show you guys what it is, and. So, but before we get to that, call the audio guy, no doubt, right? Let's head over here to the laptop.
Yes.
And for those of you guys that don't know, we have this little webpage called the 12-Volt Clean Wire Club. And every week, Fernando goes through and picks a install of the week. And this week, he picks this nice marine installation. Who did this one?
Eduardo.
Eduardo. He is a fan.
From Orlando.
Yeah. Oh, it's that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. So he did a fabulous job.
Actually, that was not even in the, like, he posted that one in a comment. Somebody was commenting something.
Okay.
And I'm like, I like that one better, man. So.
Yeah. So, anyways, very Eduardo, nice. You made the cover. Good job, buddy. Congratulations. If you would like to make the cover, all you have to do is submit your beautiful wiring job, and Fernando will go through it. If he thinks it's the beautifulest one, then you get the winning thing. What's up, Hi-Fi?
What's going on?
Anyways, so normally on Mondays we'd be doing a fundamentals, but today we're going to change it up a little bit. We will get back to the fundamentals. Don't worry. Next week, actually next week we'll have a guest, so the week after that we'll have a fundamentals. But this week, means that we're finally back. We're finally back to a normal schedule. Don't worry, at the end of the week, you'll have all your install diaries. We're going to save the vacation. We're going to save the travel videos for a couple weeks down the road because we want to just do some fundamentals and get some other stuff out of the way before we go back to those. And by then, it'll be like, oh, you remember when Dean and Fernando did that really stupid thing where they drove to Kicker for like 18 hours straight? Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, good times. Anyways, and we have this surprise sitting off here to the side. So, without further ado, should we just jump right into it?
All right, so we have 55 members right now.
I mean, it's 5 minutes in. All right, I'll give you a couple more minutes.
Yeah,
give you a couple more minutes just to see what happens. I'm having a hard time tonight. I'm just excited about this. I think that's my brain is just working. I got my new JVC today. Awesome. That's a nice radio. I like that one. What's up? Surprise now, please.
All right. Donald say, I need an Apple CarPlay in my second generation Honda Pilot. What do you suggest?
I mean, right now, if you can find anything with Apple CarPlay in it, go for it. I'm not even going to recommend anything because they're just so hard to find anything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've been fortunate enough to where we find like the 7706 or the 706 from Kenwood. I mean, you can find the 9 series if you really want to go crazy and get the best of the best, but that's up to you. Mm-hmm. Happy Monday, Mr. Jeff Smith. Stay tuned, man. Jeff. Today's the big day. We get to talk about the box. You know the box. You've seen the box. You've touched the box. That sounded really bad. I got 2 Cab 45. Should I strap them together or hook them up separate? What's a Cab 45? Do we know what a Cab 45 is?
Just a regular cab?
I don't know what a Cab 45 is. On the audio control RTA, what does the dBs on the side mean, and which one do you use? The same thing with the audio control RTA part. Which one do you use? Well, the dB is the volume, so there's gonna show you the volume of what things are played at. So as you're adjusting it, it usually goes like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're broken into like 3 dB segments, and that every time you go up 3 dB, you're essentially doubling the amount of output. That's why we say go easy.
Hang on, who was here? That was Marty. Marty, the Canadian Marty.
Oh, what's up, Canadian Marty? He's going to be on that. Oh,
look
Johnny.
At that. Johnny.
Marty's going to be on the CMA this week. So the CMA, really? They're doing all their stuff this week.
Ooh.
Budget bass head amps. Oh, okay. Cab 45 is a budget bass head amp. I don't know enough about them to give you comments.
Yeah. I have 2 and a 3-way component from Powerbase.
Okay.
Should I use them as front and rear, or should I put a pair on the mid bass on each door? I mean, it's a component, it's a 3-way. I think it's a component, but the 3-way.
I mean, there again, it sounds like a terrible question, or just a question that's not put together right. But if you have a 3-way for the front and
I think what he's talking about is like a 6x9 3-way.
Oh, like a 3-way?
Like that 3-way, I think. Because
I don't know. I mean,
why would you want to put that 3-way in a component?
I wouldn't do that. I mean, if I have a 3-way 6x9, I'm not gonna. If I have like a 3-way 6x9 and a set of components, I'm gonna use the components up front.
Right.
If that's the question.
Yeah.
I mean, if we figured it out. A 6.5-inch set. So if I got like a mid bass and a tweeter, or just one 6x9 3-way. If I'm going for imaging, soundstage, that whole thing, I'm going for the 6.5 set of tweeters. If I'm just going for overall volume, I'm going with a 3-way. The 3-way is just going to be louder. The 6.5 tweeter is going to widen the soundstage, as it were.
What do you use more, the Stinger 4000 than the 6000 RCAs?
Oh yeah, we use the 4000 all the time.
4000.
And it is the thickness. I don't really. These cars are tight, man. There's not a lot of room. The 4000 fits anywhere. We don't have any issues with them. So now if you have a three-way,
Yeah.
like a 6 mid tweet, then I would do that up front.
Yeah.
If you want to keep the time alignment front stage but want to get more mid bass, can you just add mid bass and rear door since they are less directional and be okay? Yes, I think that would work fine. But the mid bass is very directional, so make sure you align it properly.
Have you heard anything about the wireless Alpine head unit?
Wireless?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like CarPlay wireless?
I think so.
No.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I'm assuming at some point we should probably get one, but
Are you done with the thickness? Johnny.
yeah, I know, I saw it. Way to go, Johnny.
Good morning, Johnny.
Johnny 5 is alive. We're talking about the input section on the audio control DSP app. Which one do you usually pick and which
For the
one do you
same
usually
thing.
pick and the same thing for audio tools? Okay, today's going to be a really tough day. I can just tell. The input section on the audio control DSP app. I mean, on the input section, if we're talking about the top input control, or are we talking about the RTA on the bottom? If we're talking about the RTA on the bottom, there's a dB and sensitivity. All that does is change your resolution. So if we're talking about, you know, where it says 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, that just is for your sensitivity. That just is giving you more or less to view. It's not doing anything to the sound. It's the same on the DMRTA. You can adjust the sensitivity of the microphone from that, or just turn up and down the microphone. It doesn't do anything to the overall sound of the car or the performance or anything like that. It's just how you view it, which we can show you off to the camera here. It's 10 minutes in. I'm getting ready to do it. I'm not focused on what they're asking.
No,
I
no,
feel like I'm doing a
perfectly
bad
fine.
job. So
No.
we're just going to get into this, guys. The reason why today is a special day is we have a new product for you that...
This box.
That's so cheesy.
We have this box.
We do have this box. Now this box is something special. As you can see, it says 5-star on one side. It says Smash Force Productions on the other side. It says dnftooldrawers.com, and then it says iRTA2. You flip it around, there's nothing on this side, but here on the top it says Tools for Installers by Installers. And of course it's got the cool little 5-star logo and whatnot. So this is the box. Now inside the box is a tool that all of you guys need. All of you need. Every single one of you.
So you should buy one.
You can't buy
Right.
one yet.
Well, not yet.
We'll talk
but
about
I'm
that.
Just saying.
But
You should get one.
why do you need one? Well, let's head over here. Let's make sure my laptop is still good. All right, we're going to switch the camera too. All right. So what we're looking at is the iRTA. This is plugged into the iPad. Now we'll put this back on so you can kind of see us. If any of you caught the Ford Explorer video that went up last week, all right, Thursday and Friday or whatever 2 days it went up, there was a big debate on how did we check for ANC. And some of you guys were like, oh, they used the internal mic on the iPad. And they're like, no, because he says they measured it electrically. Well, we did measure it electrically. And what we did is we used our iRTA, this little guy right here. It is a 2-channel electrical measurement tool, aka an RTA. This is not to be confused with if you have a microphone that you set in the middle of the car and you play the whole shh and you set your thing. This is an electrical RTA. For those of you playing at home, it is the more expensive one because you can just buy a mic, an iTest mic or something like that for like 110 to 150 bucks. If you want to do electrical, you need like a DMRTA, you need a PAA3X, you need a PAA3, you need an NTI minimalizer, you need some big fun stuff. Well, no longer. But what makes this unique is that it's 2-channel. I know what you're saying, well, aren't they all? No, they're not. Even the DMRTA is only a 1-channel. But we're going to get to that too, because this is actually made to work with the DMRTA. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a look at what we're talking about. What we got going on here is an RTA app on my iPad. Now, it says iRTA for a specific reason, and it's lowercase, because this is made to work with an Apple device. This is not made to work with an Android. Sorry, Android is different, and we just couldn't test all the Android phones. It took us 2 years to get to this point. This is not some cheap Chinese knockoff. This is 100% engineered for us, by us, okay? This was like, whoa. All right, literally 2 years in the making. All right, what are we looking at? Well, first off, we're just looking at a generic RTA, and we're gonna turn it on here. Everyone loves to tap in for their subwoofer. The problem that you have right now is that you have no idea if you actually tapped into a subwoofer output. So for example, you could have tapped into something that looks like this. All right? And then you're gonna try to amplify that and call that a subwoofer. It's not gonna happen. You're not going to get that. However, if your signal looks like this, well, that's a sub-signal. You can tap into that. But what you'll notice is if over here on this end, this has either an EQ or bass roll-off. Because over here in the 3.1 range, there's no bass. It's just, you know, if you come up here and check, there's almost a 10 dB shift between here and here. That's denoting some form of an EQ or bass roll-off. Now, the difference between the two is actually pretty easy to find out. If you turn the volume down and that gap stays the same, that's EQ. If you turn that volume down and the gap closes, that's bass roll-off. So now you'll be able to see that, and then by seeing it, you'll be like, oh, I know how to address that. So for example, if it's bass roll-off, something with AccuBass, and if it's EQ, well then you can just add in equalization or get something like an epicenter. Now the reason why it's 2 channels is because you can do more things with it, such as compare channels. And we will load a file into this because actually we have more than one file. All right, let's go back here. We'll load in test file 2. Give that a second to do its cooking. I'm going to have to borrow my daughter's iPad. Definitely.
Yeah.
How much I need this can be a beta tester, no charge. Slow it down. All right, let's go back to the camera 2. And we'll put that guy up in here. All right, so what we're looking at here is, this is kind of like a middler. This would be what a middler would look like. If we switch that, and that would be like the mid bass for the middler. So something like a Chevy Silverado or Chevy S10, not S10, but the pickup trucks where they have the 2.5 in the dash. Now when you bring the two together, uh-oh, what happened? Look right there in the middle, right here. So we'll turn that off. If you'll notice, there's a problem there. So we're getting some cancellation for whatever reason. Could be an all-pass filter, could just be the tweeter needs to be 180 degrees or the middler needs to be switched to 180 degrees. So there's something going on there at that point. Now, if you didn't have this and you were like, hey, I'm just gonna take that 2 speakers and I'm gonna sum them together, rock on, dude. Guess what? You're gonna have a ton of cancellation right there. You're gonna lose energy. This is a situation where you wouldn't want to do that. You would want to do an amplifier for that channel and then another amplifier for this channel. So this allows us to sum these things together and see what they're doing before we get to that point to where we've already done the installation and then we're trying to tune it and just hoping for the best. Those days are over. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just know immediately what it's going to look like. It is not going to be $149,
no.
Unfortunately. Times are tough, man.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah. So does this mean 5-star amps are...
No.
No. No, not at all.
Not
all right, let me change to one more file here. And load amplifier file. Let's say test. Go to test 1. Open.
No.
It's not going to be $3.99. As much as I would like it to be, I don't plan on fleecing anybody for that.
That would be good, but no.
I mean, I'd love to charge that, but no. It is going to be less than $3.99. We wanted it to be a price that everyone could you know, conceivably want. Exactly, Johnny. We don't have the price done yet. We're still waiting to figure out how bad the shipping is going to be. We're about 2 weeks away from this. So right now, we're looking at about 2 weeks. That's 2 to 3 weeks. That's why it was okay. We're going Trust me, man. We've been working. No kidding. We've been working on this for 2 years. You can grab the box over there. Grab the little box.
Yeah.
We're trying to hit that price, Robert. That's kind of the goal. We want to be somewhere in the 250 range. However, we won't know for sure. 2 for 6. So this was one of the. We got pretty excited when we got to this point because it has the red piece on it, but as you can see, it just kind of fell off, so that kind of sucked. This was where we first got one of our circuit boards in and done, and then this one here, that one's broke now. This was a prototype. As you can see, it just has these ugly round switches in it. It started with this before it got to be this, and now it's much prettier. But yeah, it's been a lot of pieces. Yes, 1 for 250 or 2 for 500. Yeah, there you go. But no, we're trying to hit the 250 mark. We're not saying it's going to be that yet, but we'll know soon enough once all the bills come in and it's like, here you go, and then we have to figure them out. But we wanted to show this to you. Let's go back to the laptop and we'll take a look at this. Oh, wrong laptop. Not that laptop. This camera. All right, so now what we're looking at is a mid-bass of some kind. And we'll flip that one off and we'll turn this one on, and we're looking at some form of a tweeter or a middler. We'll turn them both on together, and now you don't see the cancellation. So like before, you saw that dip. With this one, you don't. So we can turn that back off. We can turn this back on, and as you see a doubling effect. So these two are going to be safe to sum together. You could sum these digital engineer. I hired an engineer.
Yeah.
I hired an engineer. Yeah, that's the easiest way to put it. So we have, and he spoke English, because I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, no, I had to be able to talk to him. That's a concern for some people. But as you can see on this, now we know these two signals we could sum together. And we could create a one channel out of those. So this could be a mid-range and a mid-bass, and those two are safe to bring together if we needed to. There again, I'm a big fan of not doing that, but you could. A couple other things you can use this for, which I don't have a good way to demo it, is an all-pass filter. If there's an all-pass filter in the system, and you grab the front mid-bass, both left and right, as soon as you flick those switch, and you look back at it, what you'll see is you'll see a dip right there where that all-pass filter is. So if you're going to try to work around the all-pass filter, you'll know exactly where the all-pass filter is at because it'll show up on the RTA. And by no means there are many RTA apps you can use with this. This is not the only one. So for example, we can close that, and if you guys, here's another RTA app that's doing its thing. We will list, of course, all the RTA apps, and then you can decide which one you want to get. Somewhere on here is the Studio 6.
Studio 6 all the way.
Yep,
yeah, right there.
Go. This is the most popular one. This is the one you guys saw in the video. So there's the Studio 6 app working. There's just better ones that do more fun stuff.
Can you go close up on the RTA? They want to see the switches and everything.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me scroll down here.
Just gonna twist it a little bit so they can see the switches.
Yeah, so what you're looking at...
There you go.
Actually, hold on. Alright, so I want to do one other thing. This is the box here. Tools
Perfect. That's
for
what
installers, by installers. We'll open this guy up. It says DNF Tool Drawer. Thank you for your support. Inside the box is the instruction manual. But one of the things we haven't talked about yet is that relax. Well, we're going to do more in-depth stuff, but if you have a regular RTA, so for example, if you have a DMRTA or you have PAA3 or you have any other form of RTA, inside of this is a jumper located right here. You can take this apart, remove the jumper, and that will shut off the iPhone capability and now allow you to do 2-channel testing with the DMRTA. This is something Audio Control is super excited about because up until now, the DMRTA, even though it looks like it has 4 inputs, it doesn't. So you can take your DMRTA and now expand it. So if you're not an iPhone user, but your workflow has a DMRTA or some other handheld RTA, you'll be able to use this by making that adapter that I'm showing you there which for those of you that are Kenwood dealers and you sell the 900 or 9000 series Kenwood radio, it's the RCA that comes in the box with the headphone jack on the end for the third, fourth camera. It's basically what you're making. So, which I have one of these in here. But there is a warning on here that says no Android. So the instructions, this will give you a basic overview of how to use it. Now back to the box, because we want to see that. Piece of foam on top. The DMRTA will come in. This is the finished product here. This is a beta. As you can see, the colors are slightly off. This is the color that is going to ship as. Inside here you have your two on and off switches that are nice and easy to flick on and off. You have your input for your aux. It's a 4-pin aux, which I'll show you in a second. We went with a Phoenix connector because this way you could make any form of probes that you want to make. You can make anything. If you want to make test leads, if you want to screw speakers in, we wanted it for installers by installers. So we don't always have test leads. Sometimes we have just whatever. If you've got extra Phoenix connectors, you can make any connector you want to plug into this. And then, of course, it has an RCA line input as well. These are both inputs. Moving on to the box, when you pull the next piece of foam out, you're going to find your 4-pin aux jack. Now, I had mentioned the Kenwood piece. This does not come in the box, but this is a Kenwood camera 4 input. If you have one of these,
that will work.
This will work. So a lot of you guys have boxes of these things laying around.
Save it.
Save one. You can use it for this. Otherwise, it just comes with this right here, which is the standard 4-pin connector. You will need the Apple. Hold on.
It's okay. There you go.
Hold on, I gotta turn it back on. You will need the Apple Lightning aux to connect, aux adapter. You'll need one of these. This is the only thing you're gonna need, which these are like 10 bucks if you don't currently have one. We will test other manufacturers because this is the Apple one, but when you go on Amazon, they have like 15 different kinds, so we'll check to see which ones work, which ones don't, and of course we rely on you, but we know that one works. But you'll get this cable in the box, so in the box, you're going to get these as well as the instructions. Oh, let's turn it the right way. If you take this apart, pull this off, and I have a Phillips.
I got it. Yeah.
Yep, got one. Pull the 4 screws. There is an edge here. This is a beveled edge that you can kind of see. And the reason it's like that,
Turn it back on.
Give it a second here. Give that a second. The reason why the beveled edge is there is so that the rubber will stick to it. I'll come over here while I'm pulling this off. We'll wait a second for the camera to come back on. Yeah, it's essentially the CA C3AV, but without all the AV part.
Without the AV, yes.
So you just need just this, because the AV has all the AV. This is just a camera that comes in the box. But we give you the instructions to make them because we know most people are just going to be making them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see if this works.
Perfect.
All right, back. All right, with the screws out, pull the top. You'll notice right here is a red jumper. Just move it off to the center and then slide it over one. And now this is all set up to go to a DMRTA as well as some of the other handheld RTAs. Put this back on, and you're all set. I'm going to put it back before I forget. But this is the finished product on the inside. Of course, it says iRTA. Did he put 5-star in here? I don't think he did. But either way, it's screwed into the board. You know, this was all very, you know, it's a beautiful looking piece for sure. They're definitely as picky as I was. Yeah. Anyways, that's that.
I trade you mine.
Anyways,
awesome.
So the idea behind this is to do all kinds of testing.
Yeah.
Anything that you need to look at a signal that is electrical, because the electrical RTA is the one that is the hardest to do. We've now made that easy. Over the next couple weeks, we'll talk about it some more once we have price finalized and you have the ability to order it. You'll order it directly from D&F Tool Drawer, and we will ship them out to you.
Yeah. This is similar.
This is very similar to the Educar Phase Summer. However, the difference is with the Phase Summer, you had to have an RTA to use it with, and this is a Phase Summer here. So you had to have some form of an RTA, which this one you don't. You just need an iPad or an iPhone. It'll work either way.
Either way, yeah.
But this is the Phase Summer. Not overly engineered. Does the job though. That's why we have it. So, because it worked. Anyways, so now pretty much all you guys will be able to do look like you can be the man now, because you can get into a car. Oh, one of the best things is everyone always asks that same question. Hey, will it test for fake engine noise? Yes. That's what we were doing in the video that we showed it on the other day.
Yeah.
You can easily test for fake engine noise now. You don't have anything to worry about. You can just plug this into the 2 wires, turn the volume down on the radio, and rev it up. Of course, we'll have, how many are available to start? We have a lot of them coming.
So,
don't worry, there'll be enough for everyone.
yeah. Make sure you save your money. Christmas is coming.
Christmas is coming. You're also everyone needs one of these under their Christmas.
Oh, totally. And yes, this is what I've been using lately to do tests and everything
every opportunity we could, we were grabbing this and testing with it. I mean, like I said, we've been playing with this thing for 2 years, so it has been getting to this point and being able to tell you.
Yeah.
A lot does equal 500. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's how this is gonna work. And as you can see, let me go back to the camera here for a second. Let me widen this out. As you can see here, what we have going on is these 2 wires here. We have a left, we have a right. They're going into this amplifier over here is left and right. This is a Q class 502. So if you're worried about how much power we can feed into this thing, right now we're running about 125 watts a channel into this. It's maxed out, and we're using the phone right now to generate the pink noise. So we're using our Educar Test and Tune app. If you don't have this, you should, because this is what we're using to feed in this pink noise right here.
Test and all that stuff.
And if we hit mid bass, you can see the mid bass will change. So now we can, if you want to see what treble, and if we bring in our other, we can sum in that other treble here. And then if we had bass playing, we could see flat out that that's probably not the best signal to connect a subwoofer to. Okay, serious question. When did you start working on this? 2018?
Yeah.
So yeah, 2018, the end of 2018 was when it first came to my attention, and that's when we took over the project. So yeah, I kid you not, this has literally taken us 2 years to get to this point. 2 years and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of like nervous, like, are we gonna make it? And then when COVID happened and shipping went through the roof and all this other stuff, it's just like, all right, well, I guess we're not gonna be coming out with this anytime soon.
Yeah, that was hard.
Luckily for us, there's no microprocessor chip in here because we're relying on the iPad for that. So we didn't have to, we were able to come out with it because all it really needs is, you know, some basic parts and...
yeah. Combo them with the wire rulers.
No. Because that, yeah, anyways. I'm broke, baby. I ain't got no money.
You just bought a Tesla, dude.
Yeah, no doubt,
exactly.
Right? If this was combo with a wire ruler and a 5-star phase tester, I'd mail you my money right now. I mean, I'm sure I could come up with something. The phase testers aren't that exciting. That's the other thing where, the problem with coming out with a tool, I gotta be honest with you, the problem with coming out with a tool is that there's a lot of thought that goes into what tool does the industry need. Like Steve, the SMD stuff has a lockdown on quite a bit of tools. So like we can't come out with another phase polarity check, or not polarity checker, but distortion detector. There are other ways to do it, but he has the patent on the handheld version of it, and I wouldn't want to compete with him. That would just be dumb.
Right.
And his tools are all the best there is anyway, so there's really no reason for us to go at those tools. I wouldn't even dream of it. That would just be dumb. And as far as like polarity testing, the PT9A Plus is a pretty solid piece.
Yes, it is.
So I don't know what we could come up with for around $130 that would be better than that, because we looked at that and was like, so we had to go in the direction of something that we knew most people couldn't afford, because like in order to do what we're doing with this, a PAA 3X is $700 right now. This is going to be a lot less. A lot less. And then, you guys know how much a DMRTA is. But now the cool thing is if, like I said, if the DMRTA is in your workflow, now you can take this and you can check 2 signals with the DMRTA. So we're giving you a ton of different options as far as output, whether you already have a workflow in place, or whether you want to create a new workflow because you're a stay-at-home dad that does car audio in the backyard on the side, but you're tired of getting screwed with some hokey, like, I don't know what I'm looking at kind of thing. So, yeah.
Well, the ones that you want to start doing everything, like.
Well, that's the thing. Like, once you get an RTA in your toolbox, oh my gosh, being able to see the sound is so freaking awesome.
So much easier. Yeah.
All right, so that's that. That's what we got going on. So we're pretty excited about. Actually, we're super excited about that. There's no pretty excited, but please need help with my new setup. All right.
All right.
Let's see what your new setup is, Lonnie.
Lonnie.
I don't see you.
Let me see if you.
I don't even know how to use it, but I want it. Thanks, Oscar.
That is
You'll
awesome.
figure it out. It's pretty simple. All right, so that's all that. Let me shut this off before this overheats.
All right.
All right, on with the show, as they say.
On the 2020 Tundra came with excellent components, factory non-JBL. Can I put inline crossover at the dash, or I have to run to the kick at the 6x9s?
Okay. It's a what? 2020 Tundra?
It's a 2020 Tundra 9 JBLs.
There's an amplifier underneath the seat. No, you couldn't. You would, yeah, no. Because you have to, the amplifier's underneath the seat. Non-JBL has an amplifier underneath the seat. The way the non-JBL system works is the radio powers the 3.5 on the left, the 3.5 on the right, and then those two have a signal that goes out to the center channel in the middle, which you do need to disconnect if you're adding an aftermarket radio. Then those same 2 signals go down up underneath the passenger seat and feed high level into the factory amplifier for the non-JBL. Those 2 wires then go off to the door. Now, what you can do, which makes a lot more sense, is disconnect the center channel, passive crossovers underneath the seat. Do not use the factory radio wiring, meaning don't hook anything up at the factory radio. So you're going to have to run wires somewhere, is basically what this is going to amount to. But you're going to have to go underneath the seat to connect your crossovers. What we typically do is pull the factory amplifier out. The iData TO something, TO3, I think it's a TO3 is the newer one, will go in there and give you all your wiring. You may have to, it's not going to be pinned properly, but all your plugs are there. The 6x9 can be got there on your 2-channel passive crossover, and because it's a loop, meaning from there up to the radio out to here is a loop. So that's what I'm saying. If you don't connect anything behind the radio, then you can use that loop to go up to that. The only thing you'll have to do is run a wire down to the input of the crossover. So if you're going to be putting an amplifier in, which I hope if you're doing passive crossovers, you just feed it directly into the passive crossover. You don't have to wire anything, but you will have to run somewhere something. But that's how that goes.
All right, so Lenny has the Kicker L7 dual 2 ohms. Wire it to 1 ohm on the Kicker CA 800.1.
Okay.
That's it.
You're just trying to figure out how dual 2 ohm wired to 1 ohm on a Kicker CXA 800.1.
Did that one take 1 ohm?
Yeah, that'll take 1 ohm.
Yes.
So it's positive, positive, negative, negative down to the amplifier. It's 800 watts. I don't know what kind of subwoofer it is, but
it's an L7.
That's
Kicker
1 ohm
L7.
mono at the amp. So both positives, both negatives give you a 1 ohm load at the amp. If that's what you're trying to do.
I think that's what he's
Not blown away. Meaning it's not loud. What kind of box is it in? I mean, it's 800 watts. What kind of voltage do you have going to it? You got to remember, that's a boost power supply, which means if your battery voltage sucks, the amplifier is not going to shut off. The amplifier's going to, that amplifier will play down to 9 volts all day long, and at 9 volts it puts out about 400 watts because it doesn't shut off. And it's really cool that they built the amplifier that way.
Yeah.
An A-Trend 112 ported. Need tuning help. Well, that amplifier doesn't have a distortion detector built into it. What are you feeding it with? Are you feeding it the right signal? See, that's why we've come out with the iRTA, because without you knowing what you tapped into, you may have tapped into something like we just showed you that has no bass whatsoever, which means, yeah, you're going to have lackluster experience at best. It's going to suck. That's why RTAs are so important. Because if you have no idea what you tapped into, now if you're coming out of an aftermarket radio, well, that's one thing. Then you're good. But if you're dealing with a factory radio, I guarantee you there's a high-pass crossover in that Toyota radio that isn't going to let you get deep bass out of that driver. That's why we go with like a key lock. Because a key lock is designed to go in there and add de-equalization to it and bring back. The other thing too is if you grabbed left and right for that one, yeah, I wouldn't do that.
All right. Can I use a Rockford DSP with the LC7i as a LOC? So using the LC7i.
Hold on a second. So I should wire to a sub instead of a deck speaker. Planning to upgrade stereo. Yeah. Yeah. I would. You need to go to the speaker that plays the lowest frequencies in the car. And, you know, that may help what you're doing. But keep in mind that it's going to have bass roll off and or equalization done to limit the amount of bass you have.
Yeah.
That amp does have a bass boost at 45 hertz. You probably need to turn that up a ways to get some bump out of it. But yeah, that's a place to start.
I wish Jeff Smith could come and help me with the Tesla.
I bet you he wishes he could too. Is this the, can you use a Rockford DSP with an LC7i as an LOC?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to. I mean, you could, but you really don't need to unless you got like 20 volts that you're dealing with. The DSR1 has high level to low level built into it. So there's really, I mean, you can, like if you've got both and you're like, I just want to use both, by all means, you could use both. Or if you need to do summing or something like that, then yes, of course, there's no reason why you can't. The DSR1, it's just like any other device. If you put a high level to low level in front of it, it'll take it and go. Really the only time I'd use something like that is if I had like 2 channels or 4 channels of summing that I needed to do, and then I would sum them together and feed them into the DSR1. I've never done it, but I mean that would be the thought there. Otherwise, the DSR1's high level to low level's fine. Okay. That's a big one. Hello, guys. I have a 2015 Hyundai Sonata with the Infinity system. Oh. And it has a center channel. This is a strange thing about the center channel. If I go the left balance, the center channel does not smell. And if I go to the right channel, it does not smell. It's a smelly speaker. And if it goes
central in the center,
I want to be sure. I mean, when you come to the, okay, so it has a Harman system,
yeah,
with a center channel. The smart money on that would be to, if you want to go with a DSP, grab every speaker and don't sum anything together. Let the factory DSP that's in there, the Harman, do the lifting as far as time alignment, upmixing, and all that, and use your aftermarket DSP to give you like equalization for the new speakers you're putting in and level control. But if the system has, let's say, center, front tweeters, front mid, rear, so you have to count how many actual channels there are coming out of the factory amplifier. A lot of people buy like a 6-channel DSP and they'll be like, it was the United States. They'll buy like a 6-channel DSP when you really need an 8 or a 9-channel DSP. So you're going to have to do some work as far as figuring that out. But in your case, I would just let the factory system do the lifting, because they've done a pretty good job, probably better than what you're going to do on your own. And myself included. I'm not picking on you by any means. It's just Harman got some really smart guys that work for them and do a pretty decent job most of the time. Not all the time, most of the time.
All right, 2010 G37 sedan with the Bose system. The front stage is a 3-way. Can I easily fit the tweeter and mid-bass? The mid-range is behind the PITA. Have you ever replaced the speakers in the G37? What speakers do you use?
I don't think we've ever done speakers at G37. I mean, we've done plenty of Nissan Infinities.
Yeah.
And nothing is easy.
No.
Nothing is easy at all.
I think the best bet is just to take it apart and see
and start measuring
how much space do you have.
Listen, the biggest mistake that most people make when designing a system is they just go out and buy a bunch of stuff, and they think they have an idea of what they're going to do. And the reality is you have no clue until you get in there and start figuring it out. Friday, before I left, our friend Victor was here, and we were working on his wife's passport. That was the passport that we had in the video. We had an idea of what we wanted to do. He said he had the basic passport that had, and it didn't matter what the car was. He said he had the basic car. He's pretty sure it had some form of an amplifier. We were like, really? Because most Hondas of that level don't, but because they used to be built into the radio. However, the point is, we had an idea. We wanted it to do a key, 501, and a 200.4. But we needed to do some investigating before we could close the deal on that, because it was a brand new car that we never worked on before. We had to pull the car apart. We had to find the factory radio/amplifier. We had to find out how many channels it was. Was it in fact a radio/amplifier, meaning the tuner and all the parts are in this box? Or was it just a radio up front and an amplifier in the back? In this case, it was an all-in-one radio/amp, where it had just a basic amplifier built into it that was like 25 watts by 5, so it wasn't anything to get excited about. We had to do all that testing. It took us about an hour to do, with taking the car apart and finding where everything was at, because we didn't know. The same is true when you go to design your own stereo. Eventually, if you're going to be putting it in yourself, you're going to have to pull the door panels off, you're going to have to pull the A-pillars, you're going to have to pull the dash, you're going to have to pull the radio, you're going to have to do all these things. Better to find out now, taking them apart, and figuring out what size speakers in there, how many channels the amplifier has, and then buying all the right stuff, as opposed to just be like, I only want to take it apart once. Well, that's not going to happen. To do it right, it's not going to happen. I mean, unless you live next to a stereo shop that's just going to sell you everything and you don't plan on buying on the internet, which those days, just we understand, don't happen all that often. Most people want to buy stuff on the internet. However, with Amazon being what it is, you can have all the stuff you want 2 days if it's in stock. So take the stuff apart, do a little research, figure the stuff out, and you'll be all set.
All right. Hey guys, love the show, long time listener, and I have a 1998 Corolla, and I want to put 415s subs in the trunk. With the factory system, will be okay, or do I need a second battery?
What do you got?
I mean, it's 415s, it's a lot of power. Definitely,
Second battery.
Definitely a second battery, probably more than one, but I don't know. You got all MTX. Make sure you grab all the specifications from the subwoofers, the amplifiers that you're gonna use, and
Get a battery.
see how many batteries you need.
Battery equals time. So the more batteries you have, the longer you can play it. It's really what it comes down to. If you want to be big bass, having a lot of fun, you need power to create power. So definitely check out getting some bigger batteries for it. Maybe some capacitors or those new cells, lithium cells.
Oh yeah.
DMA10 isn't saving my set. Oh my gosh, really?
There you go.
Anyways, DMA10 isn't saving my settings as I leave them. I save all progress as preset 1. The firmware is up to date, also running the DMA10. How or where should the epicenter be in line? Had it hooked different ways and sounded like crap. Alright, so you say you're running the latest firmware on the DMA10. The question I always have is, are you running the latest firmware on the computer that you're using? So, because there is a difference there. You have to make sure that you have the latest firmware on the laptop before you can update the firmware on the DMA10. Now, if you say it's not saving it, are you actually saving it? There is a mistake that gets made when doing the DM software, and I will show you, hold on, what it is, because everyone makes this mistake, and it's kind of silly. So, and then the second part of the question is, it should go the DMA10, then the epicenter, but you have to make sure that the crossover is off in the software. So if you are setting up your channel output to go to your epicenter, you have to make sure there is no crossover applied to it, and use the crossover built into the amplifier. Oh, jeez. What's it gonna, oh, see, it's not gonna launch. All right. My software on this isn't up to date because I don't use that software on this computer. Let's see if I can do it one more time without it doing that. No. Alright, okay. Alright, so let's go over to the laptop. It says press and hold to store. If you press and hold to store, you have to make sure it says yes, it says no, then yes, not yes, then no. If it's like this, when this will override and store your settings. There is a way to have it just come up and it says the opposite, and if it does, that's not good. The other thing too is make sure you go into here and save the file out, save as, type in, and do that as well. If you're worried about it not saving, if you come over here and you press on 2, that'll give you an exact clone of whatever you did on 1. So that might actually help you figure out if it's what's going on, because every time you do that, it clones it over.
Yeah. What's the
What's up,
topic?
Bobby?
What's the topic today?
No to the left when you aim to save.
Huh?
I don't.
What's up, Justin? How you doing, man?
Yeah, I got nothing. Okay, go excess power. Okay, Oscar. If I combine an 8, a 10, and a 12,
Yes.
will I have full range of lows?
Yes, you will have that.
No. However, if you do cross them over all differently, you know, then you could have something weird.
Yeah.
What's up, Justin? All right, so to recap, because we're kind of coming to the end here. So if you guys didn't see the beginning where we talked about the new iRTA 2, and the reason why it's called a 2 is because it is 2-channel. Make sure you go back and watch that so you can learn about this guy here. We'll be talking about it more. For those of you just tuning in for whatever reason, it's a 2-channel RTA that measures the electrical signal. This will allow you to do great things. We will be talking more about this. We're about 2 to 3 weeks from launch, but this gives us the ability now to talk to you about it. So that's that. One other thing we got coming up, which we're super excited about, coming up in September, we're going to be shooting another documentary for a client of ours. You guys know him. You guys love him. We're going to Rockford Fosgate. That's right. We're going to go spend a week out at a whole week. No kidding, right? We're going to go spend a week out there in Arizona, doing all kinds of fun and excitement for them, along with us filming a documentary. We are super excited to be able to do this. We'll, of course, talk more about that as time comes up, but that as it gets closer. But we will be doing, of course, some live shows from out there, along with filming a documentary. We have a ton of questions that we can't wait to ask them. And, of course, we're getting the ability to take you guys behind closed doors. We're going to show you all the stuff that you've been dying to see. What goes on there, what the place looks like, who works where and what, the whole thing. We're going behind the closed doors. We get to go...
Show you.
We get to show you guys anything. I mean, that's the great part.
Well, everything we can.
Everything they'll let us. But,
yeah.
Which I've been told we pretty much can do whatever we want.
Ooh,
so,
that's nice. That sounds good.
Yes, we will be in Arizona, so we're pretty excited about that. Let me give you the exact date. Ow! Oh, that hurt.
It's gonna be
October.
October.
It is October
11th.
Yeah, 11th through the 17th.
Through the 16th.
Yeah, we leave on the 11th and we get back. Well, we get back on the 17th.
16th.
No, we get back on the 17th.
Really?
Fly day event. Yeah. Yeah, no, we get back on the 17th.
Okay.
The 16th is that special event.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then we fly out the same day.
Probably not. Either way.
Yeah.
That's minutia. So we'll be out there. We're also going to get the opportunity to go to Mobile Solutions, we think. So that'll be nice because if we do, then he's of course like, God, you guys can come here and do all kinds of fun stuff.
Are you running for Installer of the Year?
No, I can't. Because I'm on the committee to redesign the Installer of the Year. So if you got anyone that's interested and you've noticed that the Installer of the Year hasn't happened, or Retail of the Year or any of that, we're actually redoing the whole process. And I probably shouldn't talk about it, but we're going to talk about it anyways.
Well, next week you can talk about it.
We're going to do a whole new... We're redoing it from the ground up. And I was fortunate enough to be asked to be on the committee that was part of that. So because of that, I will not be running, which is fine. I would much rather have a better experience for other people than me run. Because to me, I just didn't like the way the process happened, and I thought it was more important for us to make sure everyone else has an awesome experience, not like what we had. And yeah, because that's a whole other story. But anyways, that's what's going on with that. But we'll have Chris Cook on next week, and we'll be talking about Knowledge Fest in Indy. Indiana. And of course, if we have time, we might broach the topic of installer, or we just call it of the year. Yeah. It's really what we've just, because it's installer, it's retail, it's sales, all those guys. We're redoing the whole process. It's super exciting. It's going to be awesome. All right, what do you got? We got a little bit. When you guys going to Italy?
When they call and say, hey, can you guys come over here?
I think we have a better chance of going to France for Focal or Israel for Morel.
Probably Israel. I don't think from Focal.
No. I don't know, man. We talk about them enough. I have a Ram with an Alpine system. I'm going to change everything out because it sucks. I like the surround sound though. Should I keep the speakers in the headliner, or just put coaxials in the rear door and give up the surround sound? I want a better sound stage. Well, here's the thing. I would typically say no, do away with it. But if you look at brands like Helix has a bunch of multi channel, multi-channel processors like 12-channel amplifiers, which have 12 channels of DSP. They have center channel upmixing built into them, as well as surround effects built into them as well. So if you're really into that, you may want to look into getting something like a Helix and going at it that way. Another option would be is if you really like the surround, but you just hate the way it sounds, meaning like it's not loud enough, you may want to look at going, this is what most people don't do, but you may want to look about going after the amplifier, meaning let the amplifier do all the work for you, just get better speakers and equalization. So by find out how many channels you have and use the factory effect, but just put power to it, better speakers, and an EQ. So like if you get like an 8 or 10 channel DSP, you can do that. So it's just a thought. Not anything I would do, but it doesn't matter because it's not mine.
There you go.
Pro tip of the day. Start saving up to buy your iRTA. That's your pro tip. So that you too cannot ask us questions about what does my signal look like and did I tap into the right speaker. You'll know. And then you'll know and you can do your friends' cars. This is going to make everyone's toolbox 100% better immediately.
Yes.
Because you'll be able to do the things that the other guys... Dude, you want to know how many people we talk to that are professionals that don't have a way to measure electrical RTA? It's staggering.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's why we came out with this, because everyone will be able to afford it. Well, most people. They'll still ask, which is fine.
Still ask.
Shameless
right.
plug? That is not shameless. That is 100% a plug, man. There's no shame in my game. This was not cheap.
No.
Israel for the win. There you go. All right, guys. Well, that takes us to the end of the show. This one was a little bit different. I know we didn't answer a ton of questions. I apologize, but
that wasn't a lot of questions.
You know, we had this to talk about, so there you go. Thanks for tuning in and playing along with us. Next Monday, we'll have a guest on, Chris Cook from the MEA, to talk about Knowledge Fest. And, of course, Saturday, we'll be back, and we'll be doing a Saturday show.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it feels like forever since we've done a Saturday show. So we'll be taking your questions, having all kinds of fun. Hopefully by then we'll have our new rig hooked up, and we'll be able to finally get rid of this. I'm super excited. I'll have to ask Hi-Fi a bunch of questions about the software that we're using.
Charles, Sound Shield. Sound Shield, that will be the comparable from the Deadner. Yeah.
What did Sue ask? Sue asked something. You rolled right
that
past it. Oh. Okay, gotcha. All right. Anyways, that's it. Don't forget, Friday at 9 o'clock, we do the news on DNF car stereo clips. I have to remember. And, of course, Thursday... Make sure to head over to the Hi-Fi Vega Network where you can see me and him talk about all kinds of car audio stuff. It's a little bit more lighthearted. It's appropriate for a Thursday right before Friday. Get you in the mood for a nice weekend. We'll be doing side jag and reverse polarity.
What kind of movie?
This movie, we're doing The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, it's a good flick. He'd never seen it. And
really?
Oh, no, he'd never seen it. I know, right? What
Dude.
I don't know. All right, guys, you have a great rest of your week. Let's go over here real quick to the laptop.
Not that one.
Yeah, we'll just go to Fernando's. You can find shirts and stuff at dnfswag.com. And then, of course, if you want to check out tools or just see when it's going to happen, you can head over to DNF Tool Drawer at dnftooldrawr.com. That'll be the place that will have the RTA, as well as right now you can just go on and find a bunch of cool tools to make your life better. That's it, guys. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.